hop into another game. We've got another series, this time between Kasva and Iaguz. That's right, Europe versus Australia. And I know those names are completely wrong. Let me update them. I knew there was someone I was forgetting to do in the intermittents. You know what I need? I need to like make this a browser source. And I need to have a moderator that I pay in peanuts, literal peanuts, these nuts, to do the modifications. But there we are. We're underway. So this should be an interesting one because it's Delhi versus France. And I don't remember the last time I saw Delhi versus France on Dry Arabia. This is a very uncommon matchup. Usually it's like Delhi versus England. I've seen a decent amount of Delhi versus Abbasids. You know, you might see France on England. You might see France versus Abbasids as well. Delhi just seems to weirdly get ignored, though. We did get to see it in the Doubt versus B series, and it delivered a quite phenomenal game, actually, to open that series up. So I'm intrigued to see what it's going to do to open this one up. Because Guz is an interesting one to see manning a civ like French. The reason being is this player is known to be a greedy son of a gun. Every time I can recall in the last few months that I've cast Guz, so frequently does this man like to just reach into the pocket of unlimited gold and find more gold. Like, whether we're talking about him being an HRE master in the early days, finding ways to crack record times for HRE Castle, or we're talking about him being one of the few players I saw experimenting regularly with Abbasid trade networks on more enclosed maps. He's always looking for a way to just milk the cow a little bit more before the blood starts seeping out of the udders. Okay, that was a dark and nasty picture, but you get the idea. This guy really is all about the maximum greed. Now, he's playing against as a civ that can do that, right? Like the French, their pocket ecos, they definitely tap into the best of the best without, you know, defending it a lot of the time. And we have even sometimes seen French players play towards the multi-TC. A little bit ballsy, a little bit risky here, but there's always a shot that he does go for it. And I think against the Delhi, it would be a mistake. Reason being, Delhi play feudal hardcore. If you decide to like turtle down and hunker up and just go for a second TC and focus eco and get your own castle, what you end up doing is forfeiting the rest of this map. And mid-map control is crucial to beating Delhi. If Delhi beat you to the punchline and they secure these sacred sites, that gold influx at the 10-minute mark in the game, should we say, is so overwhelming that it's very hard for players to claw it back. Even just 2 of these sacred sites generates 400 gold per minute. That's basically 10 additional villages for free. And it's not hard to achieve either because, well, the scholars are dirt cheap, as you're going to see from the Dome of Faith. It's 50% less. The cool thing about this as well is the way that it works. You get such easy bang for buck with these with the scholars. If you move a scholar out and you capture a sacred site, upon immediate completion of the capture, you get 66 gold. They cost 75 gold. You almost instantly make back what you spent on the scholar. And then past that, it's just gains. Constant gains, okay? It's that guy who goes to the gym, and you went to the gym as well, but somehow he just comes out a few months later, just buffed up as all hell, and you've gained pounds on your belly, you know? Okay, clearly that's a little bit too close to home. But you get the idea. On top of that, the Delhi are already getting swole. I mean, this is the reason they're getting swole. This is the reason that dude at the gym that somehow makes bigger gains than you, they're using supplements. These berry bushes are phenomenal right now for the Delhi. The 30% increased gather speed, the +3 to capacity, you can see that up to 13 by default. It's just such a big benefit. Then you talk about wheelbarrow tech, able to get that for free the moment you drop the mill, which is at the start of the game as Delhi, because you want these berries to begin with, which get, by the way, with a mill near, get doubled to 500 instead of 250. Like, you instantly start researching that wheelbarrow for free. So you save resources there. You get that research at a timing that's actually comparative to other civs. I mean, you can see that the French player has a little bit quicker than his opponent, but you know, it's like in the end you're getting it for free, and it costs you probably about 2 minutes because you're dropping the mill that much quicker and researching it that much quicker than other civs. These tech diamonds, Kasva is going to beat Guz to the punchline, so he will make it up into the feudal and instantly queues up double scholar. And you can see with the way this is working out, he's getting the efficient production immediately. And this will immediately after that be a switch into Sanctity. So the whole idea is the next 3 minutes, just use the efficient production, the military efficiency rather, like to just double up your production on these racks. Make sure you get enough spearmen out to protect your eco lines. And then you send out surplus spearmen to guard the sacred sites. And then you move scholars out with them. And by the time they arrive, like, you're going to have access to Sanctity. And if you get Sanctity, as you can see there, all of a sudden you're getting double the amount of gold. This is a very natural, comfortable flow for the Delhi. The only way you really counter it as the French is if you get an early archer range drop. The problem he has right now is Guz is playing a blind game. He's finally moving a scout out to address that, and he will now see the racks, and I want to see him instantly build into an archery range. The only risk, of course, and this is where Delhi just gets absurd, is because they have that efficient production, like, their investment in a transition is much more comfortable than other civs. With all these eco boosts in conjunction with the existence of military efficiency, they're able to instantly say, if they see an archery range, they go, okay, I'll drop a stable. And it's double stable. So they're able to actually get the counter online much quicker. Remember what we always talk about, the fact that transitions are a very uncomfortable element to RTS play. It's a very well-known fact in StarCraft, for example. But you have to play into them. It's actually beneficial to play into them in a game like Age of Empires due to the way counters work with the bonus damage against certain unit types. The fact that you're able to get your transition online at double the speed of other civs for the same price, or like, half price, it's insane, right? Because if you think about when you see this threat, usually like, oh, I want to start building into horsemen, that's 22 seconds. Nope, 11 seconds. By the time your opponent arrives in your base with archers, if you spot it early on, you're immediately going to have horsemen as a response, and there's going to be enough of them to kill off the archers. I do expect this to get tweaked. I think this is too strong right now for the Delhi. My advice around the change would probably be that once you garrison a scholar, they're stuck inside. So you can't get them out unless you crack the egg, unless you delete the building sort of thing. Because I think it's just too powerful that you can, in the meantime, bank them like this. They're benefiting your economy, right? Like, your military production, they're doubling up. And then as soon as they're done doing that, you just move them out towards sacred sites, right? If you at least made it so that you now have to invest in another scholar for another 45 seconds at the cost of 75 gold, then the kind of power spike around feudal is maybe offset a bit. Because I have to say, Delhi right now, it feels like you can whip them out on practically any map and they'll feel good. Look at that, 3 archery ranges. I mean, Guz, he's full in on this now. But he's already been countered. Horsemen are already going to be in the field. And this is another benefit of Horsemen, right? Like, a big part of controlling the narrative is controlling the vision. And Horsemen are fantastic already in this patch, right? With the buff to their ranged armor, the fact that they're the fastest unit. And that fastest unit detail is important against scouts. If you catch a scout out in the field, you will kill him. Because they only move a measly 1.62 compared to your 1.8. And that means that, say, if Guz had the scout on his opponent's side of the field, 3 horsemen, that's good enough to chase him down. They'll poke and prod and they'll kill the scout before he arrives back in base. And that vision denial is crucial. The fact that these horsemen are even just here is a problem for the scout. You can see it, right? That this scout is not giving any real info right now to Guz because it can't move to Kasva's side of the map and see what he's doing. He will get the tip off now. A lot of spearmen coming out with the horsemen, but the archers are being pushed as well. And it's all about that timing. Knight is going to ride around and look to maybe assassinate a few of these villages, and we'll be able to do so because there's a distraction on the front as Kasva is going to engage. He hasn't peeled off the villagers either, so might lose 1 or 2. It looks like Kasva did go for textiles, but still, because that fight is going on, he doesn't know he's losing villagers in the back. And he will finally react to this. But damage definitely done. Now, Guz, with a clear 7-point lead on the economy front. That is a big hit. Now, of course, some of that was due to the nature of France, building villages quicker. I think he did get 3, maybe 4 villages in that assault right there. And it now will be a response as the spearmen start to move across. But you're kind of happy right now, Guz. He's started to kind of stem this off. But he does need to find a way to approach the center. And that's where the problem lies. Like, this is absurd. Up to 14 spearmen already. Archer count only at 9. With 3 archery ranges. Made that 4. This is a very stubborn approach to gameplay from Guz. Like, he's seen the horsemen, right? He knows he's up against horsemen. His reaction? Screw it. I don't care. Like, there's only so many pointy sticks that you have. If I fire enough pointy sticks at you, I'll be more effective. We'll see how effective it can be. Guz needs that pressure as well. Like, it's important he does have enough troops to sneak in, because this is the problem. Like, when you're this heavily reliant on archers, this just counters you. So it's very important that, like, you're able to condense your opponent enough and reach over and assassinate these scholars in the middle. The problem you're going to have is the archers are going to come up short on the range. They're not quite going to be able to reach. However, as it stands, Kasva's kind of pinning himself in. The interesting part is, like, if he comes too close to the walls, he will bait himself in. They could break the walls and ride out. The good news, however, for Guz is that most of this army is spears, which means the archers don't give a damn. Guz will now be able to start sniping out those spears. You can see it's just free shots, nothing that can be done to react to it in the meantime. Kasva's attempt to sneak on the southern site is going to be punished here. A denial coming out from the knight who's also being attacked by the wolf. In fact, no, I'm lying. Wait, is the wolf with him or against him? He can't make up his mind. He's like, well, these scholars do look like they're easy targets, but I don't know. Your horse looks very tasty. Doesn't matter, though. Too much damage on the knight, so that's 2 scholars gone. That's 150 gold wasted. Meanwhile, in the center, a ride in, a decap coming out there, so Kasva is being denied. And right now, their military forces match, so it's not easy for Guz to take this fight when he's went heavy into the spear composition. There's so many archers in the field. Very surprising coming out from Kasva. I expected a lot more horsemen at this stage. But still, next to nothing. And it's weird as well. His opponent has only been playing into archers and knights. You can see Guz preemptively shifted over to spearmen because he saw those initial horsemen, but it almost feels like Kasva kind of baiting himself here. He thought his opponent was going to go hard in the spears, and he was going to have the answer. And this all comes down to the fact that Kasva is playing blind. Look at the vision. It's once again another example where an AoE 2 pro comes into the scene and doesn't respect the critical importance of early vision. By the time he knew about this archer count and the rival spears as well, like, it's just... Now it's too late to go into Horseman, right? Because the spears are now showing. So now you kind of have no easy choice. And it means you're going to be buffered into your base. And this is a critical timing for Delhi. If you want to win games, it's critical by this point in the game that you have strong control over one of the sacred sites. And you're actually contesting control over a second. Because that huge booster of 200 gold on each of these sacred sites naturally floats you into a castle age timing or gives you additional gold surplus to trade into wood or food, which you can then convert into a military force. That's another scholar just dead. I mean, like, Guz hasn't reacted. Okay, he's not dead. Guz says, nope, nope, one must live. Let him go tell the story of what happened here. But now we see the greed we're talking about from Guz. No fears, he shifts out onto the deer, onto the new wood line, onto the berry bushes. Everything is his. And this is all because Kasva stopped going into those horsemen. It denied him the ability to have that dynamic force. Instead, these horsemen in this count, they're a defense force. They're not a raider. If he moves them away from the main battle, he knows he's going to lose that fight. Nice snipe out in the knight in the meantime. And you'll notice that Guz has kind of shifted away from knights as it stands. It's just all infantry now. He's going full Zerg. This is actually an interesting strategy for France at this stage. Like, if you think about bang for buck logic, 240 resources for a knight. Meanwhile, 80 resources for a spearman, 80 resources for an archer. The numbers speak for themselves. And this isn't counterable for Kasva until Castle, until you get siege weapons. And even then, it's Delhi. This isn't Abbasids, right? It's Delhi, baby. What's the downside? There aren't many, but this is one of them. It means that even if you manage to somehow sneak Castle, which you're just not going to do as you don't have the trickle of gold from sacred sites, you then have to spend 300 wood to build a siege workshop to get the mangonels to counter out this clumping. And this clumping is scaling. 50 units now here. You can see it's 61. Kasva trying to keep pace, but now rounds being constructed is a problem. You have to invest something to address them. Your military buildings are at the front of your base, so they are somewhat exposed as well. And these horsemen. Raiders on the go, but I mean, this could backfire hard. If Kasva doesn't extract value when he raids in, he could just be jumped. Because now all of a sudden, that's 9 of his units, his counters to the archers, unaccounted for. And that's where Guz is winning these fights. It's the archers. The archers that Kasva doesn't have an answer still to. You can see it, only 19. Up to 40 in the meantime for Guz. All because of this quad archery range drop. Oh, sorry, triple archery range drop. I'm an idiot. Numbers are hard. Horseman coming back now. Hey, this is a hard angle to come at from, though. He's trying to sandwich. He's going for the pincer maneuver, but the importance of a pincer maneuver, a good pincer maneuver needs to be strong on both sides. Fight's underway. Spearman move in. Going to be held back by the counter spears coming up from France. That means the wraparound is going to be a success for the horsemen now conjoining here, but they're actually attacking the spears. No, what are you doing? Oh, Kasva. This was not the way he needed to trade. The archer count right now is looking so healthy for Guz. He's going to clean up. There are not enough horsemen here. They're being picked apart as they try to come in from the back. He did not address the spears. He did not wrap around, and it means that he does not find value out of the horsemen. And it means that Guz is going to have a healthy standing army, and Kasva is being butchered en masse. And he's already lost one of the buildings. Rax is down. Rams being built up again. He's going to try to double down on the archery ranges now, but Kasva, he's finally understood the issue is the archer count, but that fight could have been so good. That wraparound could have been so strong, but Kasva, he micros, engages with the spear line that's branched out, and it means that he gets stuck on the spot, and he gets butchered in mass on a costly unit. These horsemen costing 120 per. It's a heavy hit. And now you're in danger, right? Like, you managed to secure this second berry bush line, and you have got a third at the back, but this is by no means fully protected. 1 or 2 knights raid around the back here, and you're once again in trouble. And Kasva can't afford that right now. You see that Kasva, like, for the moment, doing good on the food front. But Guz, the only reason that his opponent is doing good on the food front is because Guz is heavily investing in wood for the rams. Still burned down. I actually love this move by Guz. This is distraction. It's distraction pings. It's actually very smart. Not enough players do this. He tries to use it to go around the back of the knight, right? Like, he doesn't find his value initially, but he can keep cycling back and forth. But these type of moves are very effective. It's why, like, there's no real value in Kasva keeping these palisades. I'd say, if anything, it's distracting him. Whenever these pings go off, he might be a little bit slow to react. He might get distracted by the wrong one. I'd rather just delete these walls and not have them as a distraction on my minimap. Because the more these pings that happen, the more these, like, branch attacks that occur, the more difficult it is for you to identify what the important pings are. Guz now moving in onto that mosque. It's a slow siege, but he's just waiting for the response. And once that response comes in, Guz knows he's stronger. He could turn around and fight at any stage. Ram's still doing his business. Second Ram now up. More reinforcements soon to arrive, and Kasva running out of places to hide. Knight, oh my god, he actually got him in for good value. This is what I was talking about. The butchering, and also, he only has 1 outpost here. 1 knight causes so much anarchy around the back. He's back in again, and he's responding with a full archer battalion, but look what's happening in the main base. Stable going down. Now you have no answer to the archers anymore. You need a new stable. Archers are not going to win you this game anymore. You're too far behind Guz. You can see the count 33, meanwhile on the other side 44. He's gap closing quickly, but now that he's being stunted on the food gathering because these knights keep sneaking in, he's running out. Meanwhile, Guz, he's going up. He's almost ready for Castle Age, and oh boy, is this going to be a problem for Kasva. I say a problem, more like a nightmare. Scholars, I'll get me allowed to go away. Just a few horsemen left to play with, the only horsemen. And remember, because you're full archer, you have no answer to the rams now. And this fight is bad. I don't like this for Kasva right now. 33 versus the 43. And the microing is efficient on both sides, which means at the end of this, there might just be 10 left for Guz. Scholar healing coming out. Nice usage of them, because right now, remember, they have no other value as the mosque has been lost. That means you have to prioritize out the Scholars. I mean, this healing is pretty damn effective. The Ram is also stuck away from the primary TC. And Ram now being burnt down by the villagers. A nice move will prolong this game, and Iaguz unable to find that hit that will end. It means Kasva's going to be able to hold. The best thing you can do, if anything, actually, is trade off with these villagers, but instead, continue to just target the archers as best you can. Knights now riding in as well. Rax has been renewed by Kasva, understanding he needs a composition. And this, the timing on this was perfect to actually repel his opponent. He can finally access those back berry bushes without any worry about being raided around the back. However, he still hasn't got that value elsewhere, and the only reason that Guz didn't end him here is because he's going to end him in a few minutes' time. The tech up's underway. It is going to be the guild hall as well, so he's not going to be able to juice up his knights to a power ratio of 20 instantly with things like raw bloodlines, but he doesn't care about knights. It's just all about these archers. And Kasva is going to ride out to meet him in the middle here. Still has the numbers for good trades, but if Guz just keeps running away, he can wait for the tech up. He can get the tech up on the archers, and then he can turn around with a superior firepower up against the deli. And the deli, like I said, you know, in this situation, this is the problem. You have a static force. Look what happens. So many villagers running away. One of them will be lost. Plenty of them won't be out of garrison. And you just might lose surplus. Yeah, they're just fighting right now. And Kasva doesn't realize, because he's running towards the center. He'll finally react and shift them away, but this knight has caused pure anarchy. And this is so well played, because Guz, remember, he doesn't go hard in the knight composition. These are just throwaway units. They're just here to turn and burn. And they are burning effectively. Now a 20-point eco lead and a whole tech up as well. And I mean, Kasva, this is worrisome. If he doesn't find a way to assassinate Guz's economy, he can't tech up. And he won't find a way. Instead, is going to be engaged. Man-at-Arms now being pushed out. A unit that there is no answer for Kasva. An arch upgrade. Yep. Almost done. 15 seconds out. Halfway through this fight, things are about to go from bad to worse for Kasva. He already knows that he runs away. Whenever an opponent has a tech up on you like this, and he starts to engage with his troops before they're upgraded, you know he's midway through. And Kasva's a smart cookie. He's experienced this before. He won't hang around. And it's good of him to back off at this time, because that would have been catastrophic. Still being raided. Knight will be addressed once again. Sacred Site capture is complete. You'll maybe get a minute on this, though. You can see the man-at-arms now starting to burn down the palisade, so you're not going to keep control. And this archer count is just something that Kasva can't turn around on. Kasva has, however, got the resources together. He's teching up. House of Learning is going to be play, but where are you going to build? You need to be fast for this. It's important his wood lines don't get interrupted. You can see that he's actually struggling. He's not floating surplus wood, which means he can't get 3 or 4 of these racks down and push out the initial man-at-arms. Still a delicate state for him. And archers. They try to wrap around the back. It's too late to trade now. The best thing they can do is just try to waste Guz's time and ensure he can't run straight into Kasva's base when he's weakest. Make no mistake, this trade will end with red alive and blue dead. Sacred Site will now be decapped. Man-at-Arms already on the move. Tech up now, complete for Kasva, but remember the issue here. You've still got to wait. Homeblade's 5 minutes out. The Man-at-Arms already halfway across the battlefield. This could spell disaster for Kasva. No crossbows coming out just yet either. He needs crossbows right now. I don't think Man-at-Arms is the play here. I think Man-at-Arms loses him the game. It's too delayed. I think crossbows buffers your opponent off. There we go. Thank God. He needs to be fast, though, because the man-at-arms can actually burn these down. They're still frontline military production buildings, right? So they're still exposed. And he hasn't got them garrisoned! There's no scholars in here. So this is slow production rate. And in the meantime, it looks like Guz, he doesn't care about it. He's going around the back. He's looking for these villages. He's not really going to find the value initially on this berry bush line. It's already been depleted. Man-at-arms will burn down the outpost so quickly, though. Archers will sidestep. Fight is going to commence. Man-at-arms having the clear edge here. A Wallalow coming out, though. Guz! Guz! He's trapped! He's going to try to shift away. He just about gets out of range. He loses a few of the archers, though. And that could have been so much worse. Guz was not paying attention. What a cheesy Wallalow from Kasva. Doesn't get the full value, though. He didn't spread out his troops. He didn't have enough of them to box his opponent and body block him. Had he, this would have been a turning point, because that would have been a huge hit to the man-at-arms count and a huge acceleration for Kasva's army. But instead, with the arrival of the archers, all of a sudden, Guz renews his assault. Expansion on the east side is going to be denied as well. Just 1 or 2 crossbowmen move out to deny the sacred site. And once again, no gold trickle for Kasva. And that has been the astute detail that Guz has given notice to. Time and time again throughout this game, denying his opponent from being able to get that trickle of gold from the sacred sites has been critical to staying ahead of the Delhi. And so many archers left. And just look how effective they are against the crossbows, forcing out a full Gary. And now a shift away by Guz. But while that's happening, what's happening back in Guz's base is a secondary TC play. He understands he's greedy. There's just too much to tap here. He's free to do whatever he wants, and he wants to do it en masse. Now up at 96 compared to 63 villagers. Kasva is falling behind fast. The only edge he has is this. The fact that because he can't get sacred sites, at least he can get relics because his opponent hasn't built into a monastery until now. And that monastery already banking 1 relic, so it's going to be 2 to 3 on that count at the end of this. You have to question, what is next for Kasva? Kasva, still waiting on that home blades. 2 minutes out. 2 minutes where you are still very much exposed. And Arbalatriers now coming to the field. Arbalatriers that are going to be superior to your ranged firepower due to the Pavises. He's already riding forward. No siege required, he says. Might think about maybe a ram or 2, but the crazy part is once you get a Zerga man-at-arms, like the rams seem a little bit trivial. They just do so much torch damage, and they're so tanky, you don't really need battering rams anymore. It's very much a feudal type unit. And these walls. Kasva, not even you. What? I mean, I know you want it a little bit quicker, but you're wasting so much production time running 7 villages out here to do this. Second TC down, and this is when he's most vulnerable. And I don't think Guz knows. Guz didn't get eyeballs on this. Maybe he suspects it, because it would be a logical play. But even if you do or don't know about it, like, you understand that your power timing is now. Look how many troops you got in the field. 20 man-at-arms, 15 arbaletiers. Kasva trying to catch up now to that 69 number in the economy, but it's the military that's failing now. 60 to the 26. Almost tripling up the deli. And a movement in. Assassination onto the villager line. So many outposts, but they won't protect you for long. Man-at-arms moving in. Wrap around. Attack from the side with the crossbows. So many villagers are going to be saved, but so many man-at-arms are going to be lost. They're going to have no arms to fight back with at this rate. Guys, we're retreating back towards the primary TC. Just so many French knights on foot here. Riding in. Archer's going to chase him away. Creates the space to get through the front racks. Forces a fight out. Archer's now being engaged, but trading well with the crossbows. Are going to back out. Wallow's coming out. Triple Wallow! But no effort. No attempt, which is going to be successful at least. He tries for the clutch play. He forces his opponent deeper, but with such a clear military lead, Guz doesn't care. He'll just turn and burn him. And that is the military force depleted, down below 10 now for Kasva. And Kasva, with nothing to defend his base, is about to get butchered. And this Siege Workshop, it was a Hail Mary, but a Hail Mary too late. Guz still doesn't know about this TC expansion. Maybe he suspects of how weak the military force was and the desperation with which Kasva has acted. And as a result, he will shift to the side. And Guz, he's ready for Imperial. That's how efficient he's been. We said he's a greedy boy, he's a chunky boy, and he's proven that here. While he Imperials up, his opponent is going 6 feet under. Mangonel comes out, instantly burnt to the ground. Villagers unable to protect it, and Kasva has nothing left in the chamber to fire back with. And I wonder, where is, yep, it's right in his base. I mean, this is a just so you know this game is over landmark if I've ever seen one. Because the moment that Kasva sees this being constructed in his backyard, he's going to know that there's no hope. There's just no way back. And there it is. He sees him running in right now. He's like, what are they doing here? Hold on a second. I surrender. Get me out of this game. I don't want any of it. And Guz proving just no matter what he picks and where he does it, he's the greedy boy we've come to know, as he proves just how greedy he can be with the French. I mean, what a way to play this as well. Offsetting the early presence of the deli, the ability to control those sacred sites, but not content with that at every stage. Instead of going, maybe this is a feudal age rush end. He's like, I'm a castle, I'm Imperial. Every stage, just being the Guz that we know and love. That guy that's always looking to exploit the economy and proves exactly how you can as France in the France-Delhi matchup on Dry Arabia of all matches, maps. Fantastically done by him. But of course, only game 1. And an exciting start to the series, so I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen for the rest of it, because it's potentially 2 games, and I got a feeling this one's going a long way. So let's find out. So, let's get ready with game numero 2, which is Boulder Bay. It's Boulder Bay. I think I need vodka in there instead of energy drink. The map we've come to hate. But don't worry, folks. This time, we don't have to hate Boulder Bay. There will be no Rus. Oh, no. We head into map number 2. Guz, 1 point up, 1 game away from victory. He's going to Boulder Bay. Surely it's going to be Rus, but it's not. It's not even going to be a mirror matchup. Instead, Guz goes for his tried and true HRE. But Kasva, trying to show new powers here, is going to be whipping out the Abbasids. And yes, Water Penis map makes a return, but for once, someone's not about to get, deep penized in this situation just by an outmassing of stupid Lodger attack ships. Instead, we're going to have something a little bit funky, something a little bit different. Surprised that Kasva whipped out the Abbasids here, because it's got to be said that they are very weak on water. So I think Kasva's play on this map is actually a landmass. And I think he's looking to heavily leverage the fact that, he can TC expand with limited harassment opportunity onto him. And it's actually an interesting play in this matchup, because both of these sides will be land prioritization. There will be military force on land, and this is why, right here. It's kind of fitting, right? HRE on one side, Middle Eastern Civ on the other. It's a crusade. It's a holy crusade because what matters more than anything in this matchup is relic control here. And because Kasva is likely to just not hard invest into the naval front, it means he's going to be present to contest these relics on land. And should he actually deny Guz access to multiple relics in this game gets dark very quick for the HRE. So excited to see what they're going to do. It will be the opening of docks, though. Just getting those initial boats out, getting that surplus food in the beginning is worthwhile. It's unlikely that either player wants to necessarily shut down the naval front. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, say, Kasva invests in one or two, like, maybe little baby dhows to try and pressure, although they are, like, easily and absolutely, utterly trashed here boat. But I don't really see Guz wanting to spend more time in feudal by investing galleys. Guz is a very greedy player. If you give him the opportunity to tech up, he's going to take it. So I think what a cool move here would be is, like, maybe if you're just Kasva in this situation, prioritize land. Don't necessarily, like, even pressure your opponent on water. Understand that, like, he doesn't want to attack you on water. You don't want to attack him. And then just kind of, like, parlay that. Make that, like, a peace zone on the waterfront where everyone can be safe. And then just full-on siege across land. And we'll already see... Oh, my God. It's not even going to be a way around Kasva. He's sneaking Iraqs. However, this is no longer hidden. Because of where he placed it, he just deleted the stealth forest. The question is whether Guz is going to see him. Guz is going the other way around because he's looking for the relics at the back. Oh, his greed. HRE's greed is going to punish him. This will be a successful Rax. And by the time he realizes it's there, it might be a few spearmen onto his dock. So it is going to be Kasva fully prioritizing the land presence. And he is still going to be able to deny the naval side just by pushing across and burning it down in the feudal age before your opponent can even get any defenses on the waterfront. Oh, what a play. I mean, I was expecting an exciting series, right? After I see the way that France Delhi opens up, already Abbasid HRE is promising to deliver something special. And this is frustrating as well, because this is like the worst point for this to happen, right? Once you're about 4 boats deep, that's a heavy investment. You've already clearly set up your wood line. You're heavily invested on it. Also, as an HRE player, you're probably like min-maxing your wood line a lot of the time in the beginning, which means you're not getting more efficiency on food and gold. But now you're going to be denied on the waterfront. And it means that Guz is going to be slowed down. Even if he cracks his feudal, he's not going to be quick into castle. This is going to screw up his timings entirely because of that initial investment. And remember, folks, this isn't the early days fishing boats. These are more pricey now, 75 wood. And they do gather slower off of these shoreline and these deep water fish. So you don't even return the investment as quickly as you used to. And this is going to hurt him. Even the villager moves out to do this as well. This is such a big brain move from Kasva. And so unexpected because not many players do this. Although it has to be said, Abbasid's on Boulder Bay has historically been used for exactly this. So it's surprising that Guz doesn't even for a second think this is a possibility. And now it's a peasant rebellion. He has to run the villagers out just to try and stop this from going down. And that's going to hurt. He's going to lose several here, in fact. Spearman. Engaging with 2 villagers on the side. One's going to be butchered down. Scout turned onto next. If he can't assassinate this villager, Kasva's going to have the means to build even more buildings on the front line. And even if you get shivs out, you're not going to feel good. The prelate even came out to try and keep the villagers up. And Guz is suffering. He's at least underway with the tech up into the Ark and Chapel. Now, the plus side about this is Kasva, he hasn't begun his. Because he's so hard in on the spears, he's going to be punished by archers when they come out. What matters, though, is when are they coming out? Because your dock is definitely going to be down by then. Especially with this many spears. And a fishing boat moving across for some reason. Kasva just, I don't know, I guess that's a BM fishing boat. Look what I'm doing. Or maybe he forgot what side he was on. Maybe it was a charitable donation. It's like, can I drop you off some food? I feel sorry for you. Well, this charity is not successful. His payment has been rejected. And Guz, his influence on the waterfront is going to be rejected too. As this dock is definitely going down. At least he'll get his tech up. The concern is that the Kasva is going to escalate now. Like, he has freedom on the water. And as long as Kasva keeps patrolling up and down this shore, he's going to keep it that way. There it is. Doesn't even get the final bank. Ooh, just about gets it in. But now that's 6 boats invested in. That's 450 wood, folks. That's 3 military buildings. That's a lot of cheddar just missing. And it means you now have to rebalance your eco lines as well. You're not able to just double down on wood and gold and feel good about what's happening elsewhere. You're missing out on that kind of secondary TC feeling of a dock, right? Because that's what this is. Like, a dock is a resource generator type building. It pushes out this unit that's able to gather resources. That's a rare and very valuable thing to have. Because the only way you usually get that is by paying a hefty 700 resource investment. Instead, you just pay 150 for it. And it's so effective because the gathering rates are so good. So to be denied on that front is quite crippling. And now the walls are going down as well. So Kasva's going to make sure Guz has nowhere to run. Nowhere to aggress either. And this by Kasva is actually very smart. If he stays here, he might be able to catch his opponent off guard when he least expects it. I don't want to see him just run the spearmen in, but Kasva might feel the need to just keep them patrolling to keep pressure on. He has forced Guz into the double archery range play. And the archers are now coming out. The question is whether with this forward villager, does he want to drop archery ranges of his own, or will he be content to just try and scale up now? Well, he's finally underway with the eco wing. Very much delayed his feudal timing by doing this, but definitely crippled Guz in a lot of ways. He already forced him to double down on feudal after he lost the eco investment on the water side. So this is a very frustrating situation for Guz. It means that his castle age timing could easily be like 12 plus minutes at this rate. In fact, I'm not even sure if Guz is going to feel comfortable to tech up into castle at any stage in this game, because of the early pressure that's now there, the looming threat that your opponent has a forward base. And also, you don't know if he's rescaling that, right? You don't know if he's reinvesting because you have no vision. You lost your scout. You're locked in. You will rebuild this dock, but in terms of what you can see and what you can do on land, you are heavily limited right now. And the scout and the spearman will move across, but with archers here, this time, dock should be successful. Yeah, they'll even ensure they go off the spear because the scout does measly damage in comparison. So he will go down before he can actually commit his spear to the cause. But don't worry, Kasva's coming. Straight in on the butchering, gets rid of the villager, and with this many spearmen, it's a little bit scary for the archers, but 2 more reinforcing means Kasva should end up losing the 4 troops. And a big influx of food there. You saw that, just 6 of these boats waiting with huge chunks of food to deliver. And you see the paranoia, right? He shifts away from the deep water fish onto the shoreline because now he's paranoid that his opponent's going to push him on the waterfront. However, Kasva shows no signs of doing so. Went double dock, but just to scale his economy further. And Kasva, like, this is a rate. Like, look what he's doing. This is almost back-to-back teching. Guz is stuck in feudal, but Kasva's targeting castle. And if he rushes castle, he can immediately get man-at-arms out in the field in the midpoint of the map. And that is a scary situation to find yourself in as an HRE player, stuck in feudal. Second dock, now going down. And he's investing into the galleys. He understands he needs to punish his opponent because he has to be being greedy here. And Kasva, he invested a lot of gold, but where? What? What in the deuce? And fresh food stuff makes up. There it is. Okay, I was about to say, he has to be getting archer ships. So it's double Dow. Dows are not that good, by the way. Galleys one-on-one will outdo them. But if you outmass and these galleys ever have to run away, they are going to get burst down. Because remember, galleys, the weakness is their forward shooting. And they're slow, which you're about to see. Like, this is awkward. You might as well just stand and fight away from the dock. But Kasva has mismicroed this. Instead, not sticking on top of the galley will shift away. At least partially. And this is where Kasva's going to take a bad fight. He can actually just break away quicker. That's the good news. But I feel like he should have had a lot more damage into this galley. It was a missed micro, and it means he misses the opportunity to snipe one of these ships. Guz slowed himself down as well with that investment in the double galley. He's even going to make it a third one. He's going for the transport ship. This would be unexpected. It's not often you see a transport ship in this situation. You only have archers to contribute. However, if you sneak them in unnoticed, you could devastate Kasva. And there it is. They're moving across now. A quick shortcut, they say. And he won't expect this. He's walled his opponent in. You don't see transport ships often. It's such an unexpected element to war play. Because we don't see it frequently at all. But it's going to be spotted. Oh, he saw it. All right, Kasva's going to be able to react. However, he needs to be quick about this. Please tell me he saw it. There's no way he missed that. There's no way. There is no way. He doesn't know. He didn't see it. Instead, Kasva jumps in onto the fishing boat line. Archers are waiting, but Guz, he's not attacking with them right now. And he could extract a lot of value if he does. It's still a 1 TC play from Kasva. So if he loses villagers here, it hits hard. But Kasva, with the hit and run, he hits harder. A big hit to the fishing count. Once again, just keeping Guz down and behind. And now the movement in for vengeance. Guz will reveal himself, reveal the evil plan as he butchers the innocent civilians of the Abbasid dynasty. Several are going to die here. Oh, Miss Micro there doesn't get that one limping away, but it's a heavy hit. It's a denial on the wood front and the gold front as well. And now it's just going to be a pivot. No immediate reaction with a military presence coming out from Kasva means Guz can continue to dominate in this area. And in fact, because of the waypointing, Kasva's going to lose more. More than he should. That villager should not be dead. That is a whoopsie daisy and a half right there. And oh, no, don't. Please don't. Please. Please notice it. Okay, thank God. I've been there. I've had those type of moments. You're managing fights. You're managing raids. You're worried about the waterfront. It's so easy to forget about waypointing. But he realizes it. And our horsemen are arriving back from the central base. And only a few of them are going to be needed to deal with the archers. In the meantime, galleys are going to dominate on the waterfront. And that is going to cause a few problems here. So all of a sudden, Kasva's going to lose control. And Kasva, he didn't gather enough together to go in for like an emphatic attack, and he didn't gather enough to go for a tech up either. A surprise here because he went so hard into the horsemen, he's not able to afford castle age just yet. But he can raid. Under AFK, oh my. I mean, you don't need to kill him. I think you just helped Guz. I feel like 5 or 6 of those workers were not working. That was like all of us who hate the job we're doing, and we pretend we look like we're doing work, but we're not. We're just scrolling through Facebook and checking out Twitter. It felt like 5 or 6 of those lads were just standing there, not moving at all, not using that pickaxe to get gold for the glory of the HRE. But now they will, and that will accelerate Guz a lot. Still has 6. AFK eco, though. And Horseman will finally be able to clean up the archers, but a lot of damage done here. Kasva now down to 39, evened up by Guz. But remember, Guz, because he's the HRE, 40% more efficient. Got to add 40% onto this, or most of this anyway, because they're being buffed up. And Kasva, now that he's mopped up the rebels in his own territory, the bandits, is going to be able to start getting aggressive into the base of Guz. And Guz, he's not ready for this. He stopped producing archers. He went hardcore onto the galleys, and this might be a mistake. Because Kasva, he's kept a present and dangerous force here with the Dows, but he hasn't overinvested. That's the difference. If you look at it, Guz went a lot harder into the galley fleet. Meanwhile, Kasva, he's sidestepped into the land force. Spear's now coming out to address that somewhat. Outpost trying to go down. Villager has to shift away. And luckily for Kasva, the archers don't target him. And now he'll be able to get the outpost up. With archers and horsemen here, Guz doesn't have the answer. It's an awkward situation to find yourself in. So he can't gather gold right now. He needs a new line, and there isn't a safe gold line. This is pretty condemning for Guz. I'm not sure what he does now. I think I know what he does. You need stables. You need stables. But there's just so many horsemen, you can't actually react to horsemen with horsemen now. And your archer's going to get butchered. And if you lose this main military force, you just might be sniped on the villager front. You see he's already running them back to base. And so much AFK economy for Guz. Despite solidifying control on the naval front, this might be a game where it just doesn't matter. Yeah, he pins his opponent in. Yeah, Kasva's doing these weird kind of guerrilla tactics with the speedier Dows. But he's not gathering on the waterfront, right? That's the difference. It's minimal. Guz should be able to have an edge here, but he doesn't have it on land anymore. And that's really where you need it as the HRE, because that's where you gather quicker. And he's rebuilding. New military buildings at the back of his base. But Kasva, this time around, he might look to float up to castle. And with this reinvestment into a military district, Guz is nowhere near ready. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kasva just saves on the food and gold and invests a little bit of wood into some rams here, because he can definitely afford it at this stage. Dow's being sunk once more. Kasva, no secondary TC. However, he does have the surplus stone to now go for it if need be. And the army, in the meantime, riding around to the west, looking to access that juicy wood line because they know how much Guz has invested onto the waterfront. And one outpost will not protect you, my dear. The only good news for Guz is that Kasva, he hasn't separated this. He hasn't rode in with the horsemen ahead of time. That means he might get this outpost up, or he might not. The timing on this. Textiles will allow the villagers to survive a little bit longer. The spearman will protect. The outpost goes down. And it will be garrisoned instantly. But there's barely any spears here. And that means the horseman can dominate. Moving in on the archers. Chases them back once again. Kasva all the while building up a force on the east side as well. And he's about to get naturally the required amount to go for a tech up while still floating military units out. And nothing is working here. You can see Guz, this time, he's not even dragging all the woodliners off. He can't afford to. He needs every little bit he can get. But the big bit has been achieved elsewhere. Kasva now on his way up. And it is going to be straight into the culture wing. So no cheesy play into military wing. Just a standardized motion with the eco into culture. But being a whole tech ahead. And folks, I mean, you say what you want. You can say that Guz is staying in this game. But there's something I need to highlight to you, folks. And that's the fact that we are 17 minutes into a game and HRE are still in Feudal Age. And that only works when you're in their side of the map. And he's not. He's not even in a position to gather relics if he had Castle Age right now. He's completely pinned in his base. He has zero access to gold. And with just wood of food up against probably man-at-arms in this situation, I don't know what you do. Oy, oy, oy. I think this is crippling. I mean, this outpost has been denied. I wonder if Guz feels it. Like something's off here. He hasn't seen a military force on the sea in a while. The numbers haven't been drastically increasing on the land army. He has to know that Kasva is teching up. But what is your answer here? I think maybe man-at-arms could buy you a bit of time, but it doesn't solve anything in long term. It doesn't get you out of this. More walls going up so you can funnel point this, but funnel points don't matter. The moment Kasva cracks into castle, he's going to build siege. In fact, the only thing that is missing right now is wood, and I wouldn't be surprised if he saves up right now. Because if he sorts his wood, and he can now that he's already invested the initial required for the secondary TC, he can just drop a Mangonel or two, and this game is over. That's going to be moving out. Guz, he needs to find value, he needs to find territory. If he can't get on this gold, the game is over, and he knows it. However, if Kasva builds a Mangonel nearby, the game could still be over. Horsemen riding in, looking onto the eco lines. Drawing fire. Archers need to back up. I don't know if there's no upgrade coming out just yet. No build of the Mangonel. A missed opportunity by Kasva. He's going to be chased away, but his horsemen are in. And Guz is in deep doo-doo here. The textiles mean these villagers take a while to die, but it's still people not working and people still falling. The eco count as it stands. Kasva, yes, he's behind Guz due to the fishing front, but that isn't going to last. And remember, when you shut down the woodline like this, you then shut down the scalability of the waterfront. And that's the problem right now, is Guz, he has no control of the midpoint. Lancers now riding out means the archers are countered, and that is going to be enough, folks. It is going to require a third game. Guz realizes when he's beat. His HRE speciality will not reign supreme, and it will be the Abbassids rolling away with a victory on Boulder Bay. It is time, folks. Deciding game. Kasva versus Guz. High view, here we come. And it is going to be a doozy to decide this. This is going to be French versus Rus. Two Knight Civs, or possibly Knight Civs. Might be we don't even see Knights at all, because, you know, the cool thing about the way that these Civs have started to evolve, and also when you play on high view, is because the gold is hard to access, there's a lot more desirability towards spearmen and archers, I feel. So I'm excited to see what the opener is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if Guz almost instantly drops a Rax to protect himself. That option does actually exist for the French, but usually it's only done as a preemptive defensive measure when you're up against Mongol aggression. But most notable straight away, we've got to look at the gold situation, right? Secondary gold line is no man's land. You're never getting that. Kasva has got this initial gold line, but this is the thing I was talking about. Unless you get an outpost to defend this early on, your opponent could actually move across with archers and deny you. So I think it's really important, especially for the wood line potential as well, that Kasva early on gets an outpost defense down to protect this gold vein. Otherwise, I think it becomes a chink in your armor, and should you ever get shut out, if you're reliant on knights, you're not going to have anything in this game. So we'll see what he wants to do in the coming minutes. Meanwhile, guys, of course, one of the beautiful things about playing the Rus, you're less reliant on these gold veins. There's another reason why I consider this one of the best maps of the Rus. It's not just that factor we're talking about with the hunting cabins, able to get 50 plus gold per minute due to the straggler trees with the wood lines. It's also the fact that this Civ benefits a lot from other like people not being able to play in the gold veins, because they have safe ways of getting gold, right? They have the hunting cabins, and then they also have the Golden Gate. The Golden Gate, which just gives them phenomenal gold influx off of trading this wood. And this wood is so easily accessible at the start of the game. But hunting is going to matter. Wolves have been being returned already. Guz up to 80 bounty. And there should be a lot of gathering going on the other side. Kasva actually almost losing his scout. He's dragging so many wolves behind him. We'll keep him alive, though, and get him back in with a few of the sheep. So that'll be a handy booster to him. Does have a close-by berry bush to the side as well, so a decent way to expand into a different type of food if you want. Pro Scouts could be on the table for both players in this game. I think it's like more likely we see Guz go into it. I think French players, there's a little bit more expectation that you're going to have your knights out and be able to tempo control this game. But like I said, Guz, like not just Guz, but more importantly, Roos is a wild card right now. With the changes to the build and Horse Archers just not being the dominant #1 go-to choice, there's a lot of kind of question mark over what is optimal. And there's just not a go-to build right now for this Civ. And it means that they're very unpredictable. And I think that's why it's important that Kasva keeps eyes on his opponent at all times. So I wouldn't be surprised if he starts parking his scouts outside his opponent's base. My concern is if he does do what we talked about where he plays into Pro Scouts as well, that means his scouts aren't giving vision. And that is a huge weakness. You just don't know what's coming. Whereas you're playing France, who are predictably known to go knights into archers about 80-85% of games. And remember, scout and vision, like on the mid-map, is very hard here. So if you're able to actually keep control around your opponent's base, keep eyeballs on, it really does dictate most of this map. And tech up's underway. Golden Gate being built up by 4 people. 5 invested by Kasva, so he will beat his opponent to the punchline. And there isn't any racks being dropped just yet by Guz. Makes you wonder if he's thinking just a stable drop into a knight on knight. It can be a cool play. It's a very risky play, though, because remember that the French knights are just better in many ways. So for a start, you have to consider that they get charge bonus, right? Like when you clash with both your lances on both sides, they get juiced up for 3 seconds. Then there's chivalry, so they can passively heal over time. So they can get longer-term investment instead of just being this health is limited and then you're dead. And then also, like when you're talking about scaling them up via blacksmiths, the French do it much better. Like, you know, they get their techs on the cheap. They get it for free on the melee as well. So it's very hard to just do knight into knight if you want to win this game. I do expect Guz to be more likely to play into spear archer composition, because I think in a lot of ways, like, it can work out quite nicely. I think the additional wood float you get from wooden fortresses and the assistance of the Golden Gate means you can actually support 1 or 2 additional archer ranges over that of a French player at this stage of the game. And if you do that, then you are able to shut out this gold vein we were talking about earlier. More wolves being dragged back. Guz, he's already cracked that 250 mark. That's the most important thing. If you can at least get tier 2 bounty as a Roost player, you're happy. Anything past that really is just bonus gold. That's the beautiful thing, right? Like, if you think about it logically, he's got 290 additional gold that wouldn't be there otherwise. He's about to get access to a landmark that, I don't know if it's alchemy, I don't know what it is. I think someone's a con man who works in this building. It just magically turns 100 of resource into 150 of another. No matter how badly you need it, everyone seemingly needs it more than you, and they're willing to give you these damn good deals. Kasva, has he got the first knight out? Yeah, he's already running across. Feels a little bit stunted on his timing, actually. And Guz is building a stable, so he is going to react with knights of his own. I don't think this is to aggress directly into Kasva, though. I think this is to raid on his opponent's side of the map. I wouldn't be surprised, in fact, if we see a Rax dropped alongside this. So stable down. First knight about to be able to be afforded. Hey, dude, I mean, either Age of Empires is just a little bit predictable, or I'm just a little bit too smart. Yeah, I just called the game predictable, didn't I? I think it's just predictable in this situation. Like, it just counters out everything that the French are going to do at the start of the game. In the meantime, Pro Scouts being ignored by Guz because of this investment. He can't afford it, right? Like, it was either get Knight or get Pro Scouts. And if you get Pro Scouts, then these Knights are going to kill you before you can return to base with a deer. So, very controlled and disciplined choice. A lot of players would have just instantly went into Pro Scouts and hoped that, like, Spin would have been good enough. Knights riding in aren't going to find their value just yet. And now Knights finally coming out for Guz. Like we said, remember, if you choose to take a fight one-on-one, these French Knights will come out ahead of the Rus. So really the goal here should be able to get that initial amount of spearmen out. In the meantime, use the knights as kind of like a check force where you wave your lance to say, don't come at me, I've got a lance too, mutually assured destruction. And then once the spearmen are in place, just move your knights to your opponent's side of the map and then raid him while having protection via your spear. Something that Kasva hasn't done. Kasva, in fact, is doubling down on knights. This is very risky. And I'm not really the biggest fan. I mean, it's very weird. Like, you see double racks play, and your reaction is, I need more knights. It's like, your opponent needs more of a lead, I think is what I just heard you say. Because that's really what you're handing him here. And I think he got eyeballs on that, right? Because he was diving in with the knights before, so he saw the first racks. Not sure if he saw the second, but now that he's seen the second, he needs to switch. He needs to accept that uncomfortable feeling that, like, now you're behind. You're raiding for the moment, but if you're just stuck with double stable, in the next 2 minutes, you're going to be pinned in your base. And you're going to see that Guz is making the move. Scouts and knights on the move to the north is looking to shift in quickly. And right now, no playing to pro scouts, just wheelbarrows. So this doesn't even speak to a pro scouts play. It's now finally going to be the archery range, but this is very late. I think this leaves you very exposed. And he needs to be quick to react to these rushes from the Russ. Yeah, that's going to be a snipe on a villager straight away. I don't think he pulls away quick enough here. 1, 2, tap. There's one more strike. Oh, no, he blocks himself. Okay, he'll still get it. A lot of damage done, though. This is why Roos feels a bit finicky with knights, is this right here. Look at the damage you just took. You don't have this. You don't have chivalry. That damage is permanent now. You all this right away, and that does distract the knights. And now Kasva has to rethink this. Am I stuck defensive? Because he's got knights now. And they're rolling around. And, you know, he's got spears back at base. Like, how do I counter raid? You can't. You actually need to snipe out these knights first. The good news, like I said, is that chivalry isn't there. So as soon as you damage them, you can get them learn off this. And remember, once you get close enough, you get that charge off, as we just saw, you increase your movement speed and you're able to gap close against them. And it's going to be palisading coming out. So Guz denying entry on the north side of his base is going to create those funnel points that the spearman loves so much. And I like the way he's condensed his base. Like, a lot of people think that this is because of TC protection. There is an element of that up against, like, raiding from early aggressive civs, like the French with their knights. But the other nature of it is, like, if you're up against knights and you're using spears for defense, it's once again those natural choke points, right? If knights ride in here, they're boxing themselves into alleys, right? They don't actually have the advantage of mobility anymore. Instead, they can be pinned at two ends of that alley. They can be trapped in. They can be killed. It can take them double the amount of time to get out of TC range. These variables matter. They hurt. And they really do just prevent you from maximizing the damage you can do with French Knight raids. French Knights that are trying to just wiggle the way in. And oh no, Guz wasn't paying attention. The scout sees it as well. That's why he's here. Oh, Guz. Big mistake. He needs a quick wall. This is the only way he survives this, but it's going to be too late. Guz is going to lose a lot of villagers. There's no textiles either. The spearmen are wrapping around. As it stands, Guz is already 5 villies behind. Luckily for him, Kasva doesn't strike quick enough, so he doesn't get the charges. That should have been 10 times worse than it was. Right now, Guz's heart's got to be going a million miles an hour, and he's got to be feeling like the luckiest lad in Age of Empires, because that should have been deathly crippling. The fact that he allowed the scout to be in there, that's finally going to be denied. This guy should never have been here in the first place. And these walls now going up means they will never be here again. And on the other side, Kasva's playing cocky France. We know what they do. This is French through and through. Why do I need defenses? Why should I protect myself? I'm the aggressor. But for how long? And that is the question you have to ask, because now that your opponent has walled himself in, if Guz can leverage his economical benefits, right? You know, for example, the bounty system, given those extra gathering rates, if he can tech up a little bit quicker, this game, and is a very fragile state for France. And when we look at the income per minute, we can see that food factor, right? Gold being ignored by Guz because he's just going to trade for what he needs. He's going to boost food as hard as possible and then switch over, right? Because he has this golden gate. He can just trade as he chooses. He has got the Wooded Fortress as well, so he's getting that additional 20% drop-off. Now, remember, when you're talking about these kind of limited resources such as wood, this is a huge booster. This is 20% additional wood out of thin air. This isn't like HRE, where you just take out the limited resources 40% quicker. This is, oh, I have this many trees, but now I'm magically making 20% more, right? This is adding baking powder to the cocaine. This is how you have to think about the Rus wood boosters, right? And same with the Chinese when they do their efficiency oversight, right, with the imperial officials. Supervising does the same thing. It just essentially just puts baking powder and salt in the cocaine. You're good to go. You're getting double the bang for buck, right? It's the same factor, and it means that Kasva is going to be forced to move out from these defendable locations quicker. These locations that right now aren't defendable. And I like this move by Guz. The vision on the back to see if there's a backwards expansion. I think he did get eyeballs on the TC momentarily, so you'll understand that Kasva's playing ultra greedy. And this might be where Guz ups the pressure. You can see he's shifting out now with the spears with the knights. Now, unluckily for him, Kasva does have a standing army. He's not undefended. He's not fully exposed here. You can see he has got a defense force. Guz really hasn't left himself the same wiggle room. You can see he's not really scaling his gold. It's just all in food like we talked about. No playing to pro scouts either, so he's not going on that front. He's just massing knights. He's looking to try and cripple his opponent right now. Spin moving in. Let's go force the knights back. Archers are going to punch him for that. However, that's a hard split away. Knights are going to ride in. And the French Knights can't hang around. The spears are going to be a big problem. They have got the assistance of the TC, but that's going to force him entirely back. He needs to be careful to keep retreating here. Second TC is fully exposed now. It reveals he's also got the pro scouts. And Guz, what he's seeing right now is a lot of greed out of Kasva. And he's going to punish it. Wrap around. Knights looking for a decent engagement. The French have to hold him here. Guz, at this stage, just needs good trades. The spearmen are on top of the archers, getting through them quickly here. The double TC assistance means that Guz is going to lose this army. It's a case of what he can get for it, though. And now he can move north. And yeah, there it is. Smart move. He sees, oh, you've retreated south. That means your villagers to the north are in trouble. Guz, that's a misclick. Villagers are going to get away. And I can't help but feel Kasva dodged a bullet that was meant for his head there. And it means he'll continue to scale. All of a sudden, Guz is going to be set back. Guz has to make a hard choice. Do I reinvest or do I now TC scale myself? And it's going to be an investment. Double archery range now being dropped. More knights pushing across. Value wasn't really found, if you ask me. He got rid of the archers, but so many knights still alive. Knights that are going to heal this off. I think that's what you needed. You need the spearmen in on that. But that fight just got a little bit too dicey. And you at least have him boxed in, but Kasva's far from out. Now he's dropping more military bones. It will be an archery range expansion. Walling in is going to occur, so Kasva understanding he needs to protect his flanks, force a funnel into the center of his base. In the meantime, we do see Guz playing a looser with his eco, playing out onto those sides, getting a little bit more greedy. On both sides, in fact. Says, who needs pro scouts? I have control of the map. And he's basically playing France against France. Because this is exactly what they do. These greedy pocket ecos. And there's another thing. Rus is a type of civ that can actually manipulate this, right? Because they have their better food gathering rates. They want to play into hunting game anyway. Also, these hunting cabins are giving some gold trickle in the meantime because of their location. And because of all these stealth forests, it's unlikely that you're going to be spotted either. Kasva, now, if this could be dangerous. I think this is a mistake. You haven't rebuilt your army. He's going for the tech up with less than 10 military units. And Guz is in position to punish this. This could actually cause Kasva to lose control of the game. And remember, there are now archers. So this time, Guz, like you saw, he actually still had troops at the end of the last fight, despite the fact he's double diving TCs. This time around, he could easily choke his opponent. Knights riding in. Guz, straighten onto the goal line, forcing out the garrison. We'll back away for the moment. Doesn't want to overstay his welcome. Did he get the blacksmith upgrades as well? Oh my god, no iron undermesh. That's... I mean, you're trying to double... Like, you're trying to dive double TC here. Iron undermesh is a must. Like, I mean, siege engineering is definitely more important, but even after that, he's queued up steeled arrows. He doesn't see the value in iron undermesh at all. I'm not the biggest fan of that. We'll see how Guz can do, though. At least now he can build the rams, and he's going to need him. And the timing on it could be perfect. Well, Knights in again. So many villages this time. A few more get assassinated. It's still a clear lead, though. 60 to the 43 eco. However, siege engineering is now complete. Kasva will complete his tech up, and with Guz having that news, it's going to be straight into a ram, and he needs more of them quick. If anything, I'd say invest the gold into getting wood quicker. Get 2 rams up in the blink of an eye. Knights, in the meantime, they found value again! And there's barely any spearmen here. However, Kasva is reluctant to charge in. He found the pocket eco. He understood the greed. He understood the only way he could have been keeping up with the way he condensed his base is if he's playing out onto those greedy pocket ecos. Kasva at least finds some additional value. Guz now trailing by 25 villages in a situation where he can't be greedy how he likes. And this is where we have to see a branch of Guz emerge. An aggressive branch. Ram forces the attention of the villagers. They are going to be forced away as the knights do arrive, though. Archers here as well. This gets a bit scary for Kasva. Kasva still has such a small force. It's 59 military to the 13. A prime opportunity for Guz. Moves in with the ram. Needs to build more of them, in fact. He's going to move out of range, and there's going to be another one being built. And the ram is unassailed. There's no way for him to burn it down. The villagers, he'd have to sacrifice so many here. Knights are arriving now. Off from the back from their raids abroad. 11 knights is really all that stands in the way of Guz. And he definitely has the answer with 17 hardened spearmen. It's going to be trip ram soon. More reinforcements are arriving. Guz is getting ready to zerg. These rams need to be addressed, and Kasva might have to sacrifice the arm to save the head. Because the head is what you need, folks, in RTS. You've got to be very thinky. Actually, that's a lie. You need arms for APM. You need your whole body. In this situation, Kasva really does need his whole body. He wants his cake. He wants to eat it. And that's why he might be punished here. Trip ram moving in on the expansion TC. Right in with the spearmen and the knights. They don't care about the fire out from those town centers garrisoned. Kasva, he can't afford to stop gathering. Look at his numbers right now. He's not holding surplus, so he can't even build up the army. He just has to try and survive. Rams in. We'll get through the TC expansion. And straight across into the main base. And with 3 of them on the main TC, he could just end this right now. The knights have no access, and it looks like these knights from the Rus side are just going to raid in. They'll find more villagers to snipe out. And Kasva, everything is grinding to a halt. He can't replace the units he hasn't got, right? That's the issue. 52 military, 12 on the other side. Kasva has played this far too greedy, and this could just be the end of the game. Guz, he's burning it down right now. A keep will be attempted to be dropped by Kasva as he runs back all his villagers to try and get a defense here. And Guz, no, don't pull off. Archers, they can engage. The rest has to stay here, though. Burn the TC, burn it to the ground, end him. Movement in. No, he's peeling off. Oh, this is such a bait. Kasva, he's going to survive because of this. Guz has just bitten off more than he can chew. He should not be here. He'll hit the villager count, but Kasva will be able to repel this. It means that Kasva is going to survive. This is the last thing that matters. Guz could have ended this game right now. But instead, he takes the bait, he nibbles on the toy, and he says, I want to play for a little while longer. The trip ram into the keep is just not the play. The spearmen, the knights, they're all going to be butchered, and Kasva will have an opportunity to recover here. Although a lot of damage done. Kasva, after all that, is now clearly trailing on the eco front. But you have to wonder, Guz, why did you not just take out the guild hall? Why? Guz's answer, I want to keep it interesting. I felt like this game had more fun in it. And it's going to have more fun because that means that Kasva is going to be able to repair his primary TC. A heavy hit nonetheless. The keep will survive. The Vanguard will be obliterated. But at the end of it, Guz now leading with a clear almost 20 eco lead. And that means that Guz, well, he could target up Castle himself, or he could just double down on the feudal rush. Not really a rush anymore when you're 20 minutes in, but I don't know. I don't think that he's looking at this. I don't think he's looking back at this and thinking that this was the right way to play this. I think he knows that that game should have been over. He should have had that final landmark down. I'm pretty sure he saw it as well. Maybe he didn't notice it consciously, but it was definitely in vision for him. He should have seen this. He should have killed it. And had he killed it, this game would already be over. Instead, for the moment, Kasva lives. Now Guz will wool himself in over at the deer this time. And there's plenty of value here with the wood line as well, so it's definitely worth doing this. These villagers won't be coming out anytime soon. Don't even need to send food to them. You know, they got their own food supply inside here. Weird behavior to get that final little piece of wood up. And it is true. I will give you the fact that Kasva still had this school of cavalry, but I think like this keep is irrelevant. I think like yes, you know the guild hall isn't the only thing to get through, but this TC, once this TC goes down, school of cavalry can be sieged from the side by Rams. This can be sieged by Rams. Everything can just be taken out by the Rams. I don't think Guz needed to fight into this keep at all. I think it's just one of those things where you see a keep and you understand how powerful they can be, and then you overreact to it. When realistically, this keep placement by Kasva is not good. It doesn't protect him because the TC is already dead by the time he gets it down. The only thing it protects him from is Guz riding north. But Guz doesn't need to ride north at all. Meanwhile, Kasva rides in and spots out the tech up. It's going to be Abbey of Trinity being built. Tries to deny it, but villagers will be able to complete it. And this small contingent of knights will be pushed out of Guz's base. Just more spearmen, because that's all you need. Because I think I know where this is going from Guz. It might just be Rams again. He just needs bodies. And these spearmen are cheap. And when they're upgraded, I mean, if you thought they were tanking a lot last time, my oh my, you're about to be surprised. And now onto the boars as well. So Guz going to continue to escalate his food income nicely, even min-maxing the health to ensure that his villagers, other than one, do not get killed. 75 gold in his pocket, and Guz so close to cracking that 500 mark. But I don't think there's any way to finish it. Still, extra gold just in your economy, randomly, happily. And another TC expansion. Kasva says, oh, well, I'm definitely behind. I definitely got to do it this time. Understands that Guz is kind of in catch-up after burning his army and going for the tech up. He knows that Guz isn't going to be ready to rush him right now, so Kasva takes the opportunity to try and recover that deficit on the villager front. But this will once again leave him exposed. The only good news that we know about, but he doesn't, is that Guz is incredibly paranoid right now. He's fully walling himself in. He's been raided multiple times by knights sneaking in here. Doesn't want it to happen again. And now, Warrior Monk starting to be pushed out. Passive gold income coming the way of Guz soon. Even branching out. He's getting so much room to expand here. And there's so much value back here as well. I like the move by Guz, the way he's using these walls. He's respecting the fact that Kasva still has a backup plan. Oh, God, this is greedy. I think this is a TC too far. Folks, I feel like Kasva's... I don't know. Did Guz and Kasva switch accounts? Because this is... I mean, this is more greedy than Iaguz has ever been. I said at the start of this series, I said the fun thing about watching Guz is he always finds a way to be a greedy boy. To line his pockets and get a little bit fatter. But Kasva really is taking the cake and eating it right from Guz's jaws here. With a third TC at this stage in the game. He's looking to boom, but I think the only thing that's about to go boom is an explosion in his own base. Guz, he's up to 30 military. Kasva has only 3 units out in the field. And that might not last long. They have no way in. They're trapped in the corner. Right in from the knights. Butcher another one of them. And Guz, he has enough troops to start pushing forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Rams on the front line as well. In the meantime, Guz is also collecting up those relics. And Kasva, still, this whole while playing catch-up, still 10 villages behind. Yes, he will gap close that quickly, right? With the 16-second production time of 3 TCs. But where the hell is your military force? And when the hell are you getting one? Because they're all dead. We are 25 minutes into the game, and Kasva has 0 military population. Meanwhile, Guz has 36. He's even building into crossbows. He even thinks that Kasva has a military force. Little does he know what we know right now. There is nothing to defend Kasva's base other than this keep. The arrow fire at these buildings is the only thing standing between Guz and victory right now. And if he's starting to push out man-at-arms as well, which I wouldn't be surprised to see in the mixer, then there's nothing standing in his way. And there they are. They're being queued up. And a secondary TC. So much for closing that gap quickly. Guz is going to try to maintain that momentum. Kasva is quickly closing on him. But like we said, the difference is that Kasva just doesn't have an army. And this is baffling to me. The greed with which he's played. And he's played blind as well. Surely he knows this aggression is coming. Surely he should have prepped some sort of welcoming committee. Maybe he feels he's too far behind to do so. And this is his only way back in. But this way lies darkness. Well, actually, usually the stealth forest is where the darkness lies. But this way lies darkness. As an army turns up on Kasva's door and he has no defense force. And that's immediately going to be the Rams. Guz is like, I'm getting a deja vu feeling. As he moves to the south side of Kasva's base. And once again, he starts to do the dance to summon the Rams. The Ram shuffle will allow the emergence randomly of a battering ram with a mind of its own. And that's immediately going to start moving in. Says, let's see what you've got. And if all you've got is Arbalatriers, then you've got nothing. And it will in a moment, Kasva, yeah, it's going to be that moment where you're caught showering. Fully exposed and naked. And soon to be naked, beaten on the streets here. Movement in with the Spearmen, the Knights as well. Outpost is down. That's going to be 5 villies going to heaven. Maybe to hell. This has felt like hell for the French population for the last 10 minutes now. As the Rus have arrived in their territory once more. Expansion TC is going to be targeted. Villagers being butchered. Arbalatriers being chased onto by the Spearmen, which they do not counter. And with the Ram on that TC, there's not really much that can be done. The crossbows will butcher the villagers. This keep drop by Kasva is not going to be successful at all. And Kasva, just as quickly as he recovers his economy, it's once again plummeted. As the only thing he has to defend him are poor little villies. With a nice extra layer of clothing, but only a shift to protect themselves. And I think this is it. There's no way back this time. Once the TCs are going down again, Kasva understands with no military presence, he has no way back in. And this time, Guz will hang around to end the game. Oh, what a game. There are some games that just make you look and scratch your head and stroke your chin and wonder what the hell this was. And this was definitely one of them. I mean, credit to Guz to take his time and toy with his food, play with his food. But I'm taught from a young age you shouldn't do that. My nanny would have slapped me around the ear for doing that one. But no, Guz, he would have got slapped multiple times by my nan because he refused to end this one when he very clearly could. He could have easily ended this at 20 minutes, but luckily for him, it doesn't matter. As Kasva, instead of trying to find a way to raid, maybe find some military presence somewhere, instead, he just goes absolutely bonkers on the greed and pays the ultimate prize for it. As Guz, ironically, is not the greedy player here, and he takes the series 3-1. Oh, what a game.